In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. We have another exciting, informative show for you tonight. We have to take time to reference the womb that bore us. Excuse me. Our show tonight is same as we did last week, but we have a different guest and a different topic, but we're honoring the natural birth, the topic of natural birth. So tonight we'll be speaking with a home birth midwife and a guest that she brought on that she's assisted with her natural birth. So let me first get started by introducing my co-host. First, my brother. He's a spiritual minister, father, mentor, soldier, and a friend. Please let me introduce my brother and your brother, Brother Kawi Muhammad.
Praise be to Allah. Thank you for the introduction, brother. um, great show we put together today. Great topic. I look forward to what the sisters have to say today. If you tuned in last week, then this is a great follow up to that show. So I hope you enjoy what we have it off. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Brother Kawi. Next, my brother. He's a great business mind, an entrepreneur, a father, a youth mentor, a soldier, and a very dear friend. Please let me introduce my brother, your brother, Brother Jackie Muhammad.
Give me more. Assalamu alaikum, Jock Nation. Welcome to another edition of Jock Brothers. This is an interesting topic. Lot of information we've been sharing, dealing with doulas, and tonight we're dealing with midwives. So definitely want you to like, share, like, share. Share this to everyone on YouTube, Facebook, wherever your platform you're watching us on. We definitely need you to share. Also, we ask that you support the Cash App, $ Jock Bros. We have our youth initiative. We are still working with the junior boys, 5 to 15 in particular. So we're asking you to support that cause, help us with that cause, because we're doing what we could for our young men. We're going to make sure that they are successful by Allah's grace and mercy. So we thank you all for your support of the Jock Brothers podcast. We thank you for your support for our youth initiative, and we ask that you continue, but also like, share. Thank you, Brother Ahmed.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Brother Jackie. So let's get down to the show. Our guest tonight, she is a lover of the community, health, wellness, and joy. I'm really appreciated that she took our invitation because I've watched her counsel families, my own, and in different students at her school, and she showed just that much love for her community, health, and wellness and joy. I've watched her in action. She has over 20 years history in birth work, serving as first a doula and then as a home birth midwife. She has had the honor of attending births in Haiti, Uganda, and locally in the Phoenix metro and surrounding areas. Recently, she obtained her certification as a perinatal somatics practitioner to help families work through adverse traumatic birth experiences. I mean, this sister, this oh, we're gonna have your questions ready, have your pen and pads, because we're gonna go deep with this sister. In addition, she is a founder of Mudaba, which stands for Mom, Dads, and Babies. She is also the co-founder of Mudaba Education, where she has a wonderful team of educators offering pre-K to 12th grade micro school education to 30 stellar Phoenix youth. Please welcome with a strong Jock Brothers round of applause, my sister, your sister, Fatima Muhammad Roque. Yes, ma'am. Please, could you just say a little something to our listening audience about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. It's such a pleasure to be here, and it is such an honor to be here. Gentlemen, you're doing such an amazing job, and I would just like to uplift our birthing community, all of our families who come through that birth experience and have walked the path to parenthood, in addition to all of our midwives and all of our healers who help to support that journey. And in
Yes,
addition to our brothers, our fathers who hold us up and support us as well.
yes, ma'am. Thank you. Could you also introduce Sister Talisha?
Oh, absolutely. It is my pleasure and honor to introduce this fabulous sister, Sister Talisha Muhammad. She is a mother, she's a wife, she's a nurse, and she is also a healer in many modalities, a wise woman, and with a powerful womb. You'll hear more about her story here
Mm,
shortly. And she is also one of my dear, dear sisters who I really love and respect.
Yes, ma'am.
praise be to
Sister
Allah.
Thank you so
Talisa.
much for having me. I think she gave me a little bit too much credit there, but she is definitely a dear friend, sister, and I mean, she has changed my world, and as a mother, and she is just very loving, very peaceful, and I pray to Allah that every woman gets the opportunity to have somebody like this in her corner when they are birthing children, because my children not only have come into this world by her hands, but also she is teaching them at her Modave center right now. So she's gotten to see them grow. And it's just a beautiful experience to be able to have that community support through her.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Praise be to Allah. So Sister Fatima, if you could start by explaining well, we had a midwife on last week. So
Doula.
if you could start by
Yeah.
explaining what a midwife is, and then go into a little bit about the difference between the midwife and the doula.
Yes, sir. So, a midwife is one who walks with women, mostly in a clinical space, but depending on the type of midwife that she is, she holds the art of helping families to come through that birth experience. And what I mean by the art of coming through the birth experience is we know that birth is a natural process. We know that birth is a a celebratory event. So a midwife is someone who provides wise counsel, who can support the clinical experience, hold the family, provide checkups for baby in utero, checkups for mom, offer prenatal care, help with the delivery, the labor and the delivery, and also support postpartum. If they're a home birth midwife, there's lots of different types of midwives with specialties, but a home birth midwife specifically can support a family perinatally, that time surrounding pregnancy, so prenatal support and care clinically, the labor and delivery, the postpartum follow-up up to 6 weeks, and then also taking care of the newborn. Now, depending on the type of midwife it is, their certification or lack thereof, if they're more of a traditional midwife, their scope of practice can vary. So they cover the family, they cover the mother, and they support the fathers as well so that they can have an optimal experience. But they hold the clinical care for the family, or the spiritual, in addition to the spiritual element for the family, encouraging the spirit, making sure they're taking good care, nutrition, nutritional counseling. And the difference between a midwife and a doula is a doula holds more of the role of information education and support. And so they're not holding that clinical responsibility. They're really they're walking with the family with information and education. They're exploring different options. They're helping them to create a birth plan. And they are present before, during, and after the pregnancy, depending on the role that they're playing in the life of the family.
Was you saying a midwife is not present after the pregnancy?
They are present after the pregnancy, but because they hold a clinical role and responsibility, depending on the licensure of the midwife, they can be present for different amounts of time. So if you have a nurse midwife with a CNM credential, she may be present with you up to 6 weeks. but she may only see you 2 or 3 times within those 6 weeks. If you have a CNM credentialed midwife, CPM credentialed certified professional midwife, you're going to see her in your postpartum period during that 6 weeks. Ideally, the first week, you're going to see her every other day for the first week in your home. And then you're going to see her at that 2-week period. And then you're going to see her again in the following week. If it's a traditional midwife, anything can go. That relationship varies with the family. They can be there with you every day. They can come to your home and spend the night and help you to take care of your baby. It just depends on the relationship that they cultivate with the family.
I guess last week with the doula, that I'm hearing different from you is with the doula. When I asked her, was she like welcomed in the delivery room? Her answer was more or less not necessarily. Where you, with being I guess a midwife with the profession, you're welcomed in the delivery room.
I'd like to provide some clarification there. So the doula, if she's in a hospital setting and supporting the hospital setting, she can be welcome in any space, but who is welcoming her? So is there a physician that's welcoming? Is there a nurse that's welcoming or not welcoming? And that can mean that maybe the doula can be challenging in that space. And the challenge can be in terms of the care that is being provided by the provider. Is the care adequate and quality care? That doula is in the role of advocating for the family and advocating for the parents. And so sometimes they're not welcome in the birth space if the provider feels like they're being challenging to the circumstance, but they're there to advocate for the family on the behalf of the family and help the family's wishes to come to fruition.
And you serve in both roles. Do you serve in both roles when you, as a doula, because you have experience in both those areas? When you take on a client or a patient, do you serve both roles?
No, sir. I have very clear boundaries.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And what extra schooling did you have to go through? So, because there's a license and there's a certification, correct?
So yes. So I am considered a traditional midwife. And in our community, I am not a licensed midwife. Although I did go to school. I have a bachelor's degree in plant biology. I have a master's degree in public health. And I studied midwifery through an apprenticeship model. And in that apprenticeship model, after you finish your clinical experience and you do your didactics, you take a certifying exam. So I did not receive my certification from the certifying exam. I just continued to work in the community to support families and work with other licensed midwives.
Now I just want to take a step back in history, but the role of the midwife prior to segregation, I guess from what I understand, the Black women dealt more with the community, even the white families as well. And after segregation, things change. Do you have any history on that?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. So in our community, we are one of the medicine people. So historically, the doctors didn't want to come to our homes to attend to our Black babies. And so the midwives, some people call them the granny midwives, the elder midwives, were the ones that went out to the homes, checked on the families, were there during the pregnancy, provided the prenatal care, helped to cook meals, and even helped when it came time for the other end of transition, the end of life, helping to bury loved ones. Also, a lot of herbal medicine, a lot of traditional ways, binding the bellies, massaging. So helping in lots of different areas, but we are the original holders of the birth space.
And then after segregation, they kind of tried to move the Black midwife out of the when the white nurses and doctors try to take over.
Yeah, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
And,
So,
okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, excuse me, sir. So that certification process became a gatekeeper. So once the medical profession started to see that this could be a lucrative business, then the model started to change, and there were more medical professionals that wanted to have a hold on not the art but the business, and also putting I would say a spin on it in terms of looking at birth as more of a disease process versus a natural experience. And so the certification process, they started to deem the midwives, the Black midwives specifically, as unclean. They started blaming deaths on the midwives when it was a lot of the other medical practitioners who were attending deaths as well, but they weren't washing their hands, so they were transferring diseases between birth and death.
Wow.
And then they started to say that the midwives needed to be licensed under their regulatory processes, and they needed to stop using their herbal medications and herbal supports, herbal wisdom to attend women and families in birth because it was dangerous, air quotes, dangerous. So they started to put regulations on the way that they could practice and create the gatekeeping of the licensure.
So
Okay.
do midwives get? I mean, so are they used, or do you know the percentage of births that midwives are used in?
Mm,
With
I
that,
can't give you the exact numbers, but I can tell you that we have several different types of midwives in various settings. And we have a very small percentage of midwives who attend home births, and especially an even smaller percentage of midwives who attend home births who are people of color, especially in our community.
So, so what's the relationship like between the OBGYN, the mother, the doctor, and the midwife? What's that relationship like? Or should there be a relationship along the way?
I'm going to pause and I'm going to ask Sister Talisha to give her perspective on this question as a mother and a medical professional, and then I'll come back around if that's okay.
That's great.
As a nurse, I would say it's very important to still have a midwife present, even if you have an OBGYN. I think the relationship between the midwife and the client is more personal, and like the doula, they also advocate for you. But having the midwife help me go through that natural process still, and it helped to maintain that. I think it's like, it's sacred when you're giving birth, and so it just helped keep me grounded to the type of birth that I wanted to have, and to keep it as natural as possible, spiritually and everything, because she was in my ear the whole time,
Mhm.
just coaching me through it. Sometimes, it's emotional issues or spiritual issues that you have to release in order to, get your body where it needs to be to have that baby. And she's there in the moment walking you through it. So it was very important. And she brought essential oils and everything. I mean, she had my OBGYN asking her questions.
Mm.
So I appreciated it. And I think it's very important for us to still have that midwife. And it's teaching them, because my OBGYN and the nurses, they were very receptive, but it's because I was very assertive as well. I had a concise plan. I had given my birth team, which was Sister Fatima and another sister who's a doctor. They were a part of my birth team, including my husband. I gave him my birth plan as well, and I made sure that they knew it. I gave my OBGYN my birth plan, and I made sure to tell him make sure you read this, make sure your nurses read this, because I want it followed, to a T. So when I went in, they were very respectful.
Hmm.
He was actually a little impressed that I had written it out very detailed, because I wasn't playing any games about how I wanted it to go. I was
Right.
very adamant about the natural process that I wanted. So Sister Fatima did a very good job of making sure that everything was the way that I wanted it. She even gave me clarification if I didn't understand some of the things that was going on. So I really appreciated it a lot.
If you don't mind, if it's not personal, could you share like a birth plan? I've that's new. I've never heard of that.
Absolutely. Let
What
me
does
see. I
that
think I might have it. So your birth plan basically is what you want. It's your wishes from beginning to end, from how you're laboring. So, like, if I don't want my water broke for me, I want it to naturally break. That's going to be something that's detailed in the birth plan, from music playing or not playing. If you want soft music playing, if you want students in the room or not in the room. It's a line by line how you want everything to happen. Even I even included, if there's an emergency and I have to have a C-section, I have a plan according to how I want that to go as well. So it's a very detailed process of what I want. It's it can I would say, because I'm a nurse, I know a little bit more, but the average person doesn't really know all the things to put in that, and that's why it's important to have a midwife to help you go through that process as well. And a doula can help you as well. They can also help you, but I think a midwife has a more extensive knowledge, and they can help you get that as detailed as possible, especially if you're delivering in the hospital.
So Alicia, did your husband also, was he also a part of the plan?
Oh, yes, absolutely. He's absolutely a part of the plan. My husband, he's caught majority of our children, so he would say that he's very seasoned in this, but I still made sure he had a birth plan, because he understands that when you're going through this, is you're only focusing on breathing and the pain, and it's not always something that you're thinking about. So
Right.
it's good to have people around you who know what you want, and they can enforce that. And my team made sure to do that.
And did you say,
I
oh,
didn't
go
even
ahead,
know.
Brother
So
Jack.
do the hospital has to respect? So they're required to respect the birth plan, or is this something that we have to just make sure that it takes place?
No, they do have to respect it, because we have patient rights, and you're giving your patient rights as soon as you check in. It doesn't matter for what. You're always handed your patient rights, and it is your right to have the care that you want, because you're paying for it,
Right.
So it is your choice on what you want done, but it's good to communicate what that is before time. I think moms should do that, as they're approaching their due dates. Make sure you have your birth plan ready, and that your doctor has it, so that he can go over it, and that he can know that this is your wishes, and you expect them to be respected, and you expect the nurses that are working with him to respect it as well.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you say your husband caught most of your children.
Yes.
Wow. Where he at? I need to ask him, like,
He's at work. He's
oh,
at work, but Sister Fatima will tell you, he was the one catching majority of them. I talked him through a lot of it. I know that I am definitely the exception to the rule, but I talked during contractions, and I was coaching him the whole time on what I needed, and he followed instructions.
And so these were all done at home.
Majority of them was, yes, except my twins. So I had
Oh.
6 natural births. I think it was 6. I can't keep up.
Oh,
6.
okay, so educate me then.
8.
What's an unnatural birth? Since you say natural birth, what's an unnatural? What's the
Um,
difference?
and you want to tell them, Sister Fatima? Or...
Go ahead, Sister Talisha. You're doing a great job.
Oh, well, thank you. So I would say unnatural would be anything that is induced using medication, even sometimes how you're having the baby. So for instance, when you're induced, they're giving you medication to speed up the process of birth. If they're breaking your bags, I do know that sometimes it warrants that. But for the most part, if is baby is healthy, mother is healthy, the body should have, its time to do the natural process,
Right.
and that also includes pain. Pain comes with childbirth.
Yes.
And medication is not always what you need, because medication can dull your senses in knowing when to push, and knowing, when to breathe properly with the contraction so that you're moving the baby down. So I choose not to ever have medication because I want to feel everything. I need to know there's signals, that mother needs to pay attention to know when things are happening. And so I had to cue the doctor when, the baby, when I could feel him move down, and I knew when to push. He did try to tell me when to push, and I'm like, no, I'm not ready. It's not time. And if you try to push before time, you can actually cause more damage than good.
That's heavy teaching. The medicine dulls the senses of what's really happening, and so we don't get the experience. That's good teaching. So as a midwife, let me ask you, Sister Fatima,
Yes, sir.
is it required that you know medical terms, or is that something that you chose to learn? Or how does that process, like when they come and say, okay, well, we got Zixofren, some name, and they try to throw something at you, how do you respond, in those times?
So I would say, brother, yes, you do need a level of medical knowledge. It depends, all of it depends on your background and training. So, yes, you need to know medical terminology. But if you're in a hospital setting and you're a nurse midwife, your medical terminology is going to be in practice more often than if you are in a home birth setting. So, you're still going to use your medical knowledge, you're still going to use medical language. But in a home birth setting, we have to, I would say, be mindful of our audience and our environment. So we can still use those terms in the home birth setting, although we're in a home birth setting. So families may not be as comfortable, with a lot of medical terminology in terms of them being in the comforts of their home. So they may want you to say surges instead of contractions. They may want you to um, approach things just from a little bit of a different language. Once you're in a hospital setting and you are in that environment, you're going to want to be able to communicate with the staff. So you have to have a knowledge base to be able to speak in their terms and have a level of understanding and knowledge to be able to articulate and translate to the family as well as communicate with the medical professional. So yes, you are trained in medical knowledge, you are trained in medical terminology, but the use of those terms the frequent use of those terms depends on the practicing environment that you're in. You're going to have a high volume of medical terminology and medical language if you're in a hospital environment. If you're in a birth center, you're still going to use medical terms, although you're in a different environment. So you may not have to be heavy laden on the medical jargon. In the home birth setting as well, there are specific terms for medical terminology, medical terms for things, although you're addressing your audience in more of a home birth setting or a more relaxed setting. So you can speak to them in that ease, in that home birth ease, I would say, for lack of a better word.
Yes, ma'am. No, perfect.
And you are well versed in everything that's going on with the mother because you do the vitals. You're there coaching with the ultrasound as well.
So for
Sonic.
so ultrasound is a medical procedure that I personally don't do. So we will refer out for an ultrasound. If there was any concerns, they would either have to go and have an ultrasound scheduled, or we would be in partnership with another medical provider, or if it's just a regularly scheduled routine ultrasound. So that's not something that I would do personally. And even a nurse midwife, someone who's working in a higher level medicalized setting, is not necessarily doing the ultrasound. They may do a little bit of review, but usually it's an ultrasound tech, and then there's a provider that's reviewing those ultrasound results. So we gather the information, interpret the information, and then go from there. So is it normal? Is it abnormal? Is there another level of care that's needed? Is everything within normal limits? Are there some things that are outside of normal limits? And then the plan from there is created. And once again, it depends on the scope of practice that the midwife has in terms of how she is caring for that mother or that family. In a home birth setting, we specialize in the realm of normal.
Hmm.
So if you are a mom who is preparing to have twins, then in a home birth setting, if you're not a nurse midwife in the state of Arizona, it's not legal for you to have twins at home if you're not a nurse midwife. But if you are having a single birth and the growth and development is within normal limits and it's a healthy pregnancy and it's low to no risk, then that would be an ideal candidate to have a home birth.
Hmm.
Sister Talisha, you had both experience, hospital and home birth, correct?
Yes, sir.
Um,
Hmm.
could, could you describe the difference? Maybe, what are the pros and
Oh,
cons of each, if you will?
mm,
And,
in
and,
my
and wait,
opinion,
hold
there's.
on.
Oh,
I wanted to add to that question. Did you ever have a pool birth with water in the pool?
oh, that's my go-to, brother. That's my go-to.
Okay. We'll talk, yeah, like that. Okay. Why is that the go-to? Why is that the go-to?
For many different reasons, and Sister Fatima will tell you, I was really upset about that in the hospital. I wanted that pool. I wanted that tub first. But the for one, it's the warm water that's very relaxing, and it helps with the contractions. It kind of lessens the pain of it. The water relaxing the muscles, it's relaxing the body, and it just feels better. It's like you can bear the contractions a little bit easier when you have a water birth, and that warm water just eases everything. It helped me focus more,
Mhm.
for one, so the pain was a lot less. With a home birth, I enjoyed being able to get into my bed after getting cleaned up and hold my baby, and fall asleep in my own bed and in the comfort of my own home, and that was peaceful to me. Um, but just being at home, you have a more level of peace, and being surrounded by your children or your husband, it's like you keep that moment sacred. You're not in a room with people that you don't know, and they don't know how to support you the way that you need them to. So I think it's super important. And just on a spiritual level, what you're birthing your child in, the energy of your home that you're birthing your child in. And I think that's something that's probably the most powerful. But I think having a birth at home more than anything, is bearing the pain. But once you've done it, it's empowering. You feel like you can do anything at that point. You
Wow.
can take on the world. There's nothing on this planet that you can't do after you've bore that pain and push that baby out. And it's sometimes true. It's only that moment of pain, you forget about it, and that's why we're able to have more afterwards. But you know it's an amazing experience that I think every woman should experience naturally. And I mean, not to be afraid of the pain and not to be afraid of what can happen, because our bodies were created to do this. We've done it for a long time without Western medicine. And, I pray that we get back to that. But it's going to take a lot of education,
Yes,
a lot
ma'am.
of education,
Yes, ma'am.
reprogramming.
Sister Fatima, jumping back to the hospital room, are you protected from legal ramifications like a doctor would be if anything went
So,
down?
so let me be clear. I do not practice in a hospital, and I am a home birth midwife, and I am considered a traditional midwife. So, no, you are not protected in the hospital. You are there. If I'm in a hospital setting supporting a mom, then I am there as their support person. If I was a certified nurse midwife in the hospital setting, then yes, I would be protected by the hospital because they would be covered under the hospital's malpractice insurance.
Okay.
Now, if that certified nurse midwife wanted to go and do a community birth in a home setting, then that could put her at risk because the hospital covers her malpractice insurance. So she's not covered to do birth in the community setting unless she makes a decision to become a nurse midwife practicing in a community setting under her own license, her own, insurance and coverages, which would be different than the hospital's malpractice insurance, but would be appropriate for her to practice in a community-based setting.
So go ahead, Mr. Jackson.
No, go ahead, Cohen.
So I just want to know, so traditional midwives are not, are you covered? First of all, is midwives covered by insurance?
So not all midwives are covered by insurance. No. The reason is malpractice insurance is very expensive. So for a home birth midwife running a home birth midwifery practice,
No. What I meant, like in terms of how you get paid, not.
no. So
Okay.
home birth midwives are not reimbursed through insurance, and which is part of the legislation that midwives are working through now. The home birth midwifery licensure is called a CPM, a certified professional midwifery licensure. And so there was legislation some time ago where the midwives went to apply for Medicaid numbers so that they could be paid out by Access. But that process, in terms of the paperwork process, the submission, obtaining your Access number, and then there's another process of the actual reimbursement, there's some disconnect there. So most home birth midwives either opt out of that process because it's laborsome, laborious, or the reimbursement process is not at a living wage rate, and or the barrier to be able to complete the paperwork, to submit it, and receive the credentialing needed to receive Access is a challenge. So that is some things that are in legislation right now so that midwives can have a living wage, be reimbursed by Access, and have the payments that they're needed. It also depends on the type of insurance that a family has. So if a family has an independent insurance and they receive their universal bill after they receive their care, and that independent insurance covers those fees, then yes, they can be reimbursed. But if we're specifically talking about state Medicaid or Access, then that can be more of a challenge.
So you mostly pay out of pocket, basically.
If you're having a home birth, yes, sir. And even some birth center births,
How
although they
do
can receive insurance.
how do you go about putting your name out there? How do you I guess advertise your services as a midwife? Because I know
Well,
you say it's not a lot of people that use them, but clearly they're needed. I mean, how do you go about getting them?
so it depends on the type of midwife that you want. So you can go to Google and you can put in Black midwife. You can put in the type of midwife that you want. You can put in home birth midwife. If you want to have receive a midwife in a hospital setting, then you can go to various practices that have midwives, but they have to be specifically credentialed for the hospital setting. If someone was looking for me as a midwife, I am a more of a traditional midwife now. I don't work in a clinic with licensed midwives, so I'm holding more of a non-clinical space for families at this point in my career. So I'm giving them advisement. I'm talking to them about their pregnancy and their birth, but I'm not holding their clinical responsibility because I'm at a different stage in my career at this time. But if they wanted a home birth midwife, then they could um, put that in Google specifically and look for a certified professional midwife in the state of Arizona. They also could go to the Arizona Department of Health Services. There's a registry of all the certified professional midwives there that, and they could see a list of midwives that they're interested in. But if there's specific key components that they're looking for, then word of mouth is really good. I have a lot of referrals for my care specifically, and if it's not a good fit, then I refer them to other midwives that may be able to care for them and alter their needs better than I can at this time. And then we have a referral basis, and that's how it should be. You should have the right midwife for your care.
Mm.
Mm.
So, Sister Alicia, did you in my study I've learned about auxiliary providers. Did you feel the need to have acupuncturists, chiropractors, bring all these different
Mhm.
health professionals in to help you in your healing or your process?
Um, Absolutely. I would say that I wish I had have used it a lot more in my previous postpartums, but this time I absolutely needed it. I could see and feel a distinct difference in my posture and my spine being more out of alignment because I was carrying twins, and so some chiropractic work is necessary. I think that a lot of women don't understand how much your body has to transform to carry a child, and how much things move out of place to house them, and for the amount of time that it's out of place. So for the body to recover properly, yes, you need acupuncture, even cupping. Um, Fatima helped me with, she used Moxa, which is, it's like a incense, but it's more like a healing, um, what is it called, sister? It's more like it looks like
Mm,
incense, but when they
Mugwort.
burn it over the body, I could actually feel my muscles moving back into place. So it was very powerful. And knowing about all these herbs and things, people would think that Western medicine is a faster process, but really and truly, Mother Nature and what she provides can happen. She can work a whole lot faster for you than going to the hospital. Herbs are definitely my go-to for healing. And if I hadn't had them, I don't think that my pregnancy nor my delivery and my postpartum would have went as well as it did. So having all of these things is definitely necessity. Even massage therapy during and after pregnancy is definitely a must.
Mm. Sister Fatima, I know that in your bio you delivered babies in Africa as well. Now, here in the United States, we deal with high blood pressure, diabetes. So there's a lot of infant deaths and different
Yes, sir.
different instances where births have complications. Do you find that the same in other countries?
Absolutely. Absolutely. the technologies, the environments that I was located in, there was low technology. I was like in the bush. No, when the sun went down, there was no electricity. That's when I was in Uganda, and when I was in Haiti, I was in one of the hospitals helping to support. So they did have a bit more technology, but the complications there, it's not a quick fix. You know, the transportation just to go to the hospital can be a problem because the roads are unpaved, or the resource to even be able to get to the hospital. There's not necessarily an ambulance to be able to take you there. The diagnostic testing is in the areas that I was in was very limited, and with the limited diagnostic testing, you know, we had an experience where there was a mom who had an early pregnancy, but her cervix was not strong enough to be able to maintain the pregnancy, and so she had to, you know, release the baby. Here in the United States, they would do something called a cerclage and sew the cervix together until an optimal gestational age, and then they would open the cervix and allow the delivery unless it was going to be a C-section. So some of the practices, the resources, the diagnostic testing, especially if there's a higher risk pregnancy, was not available in the areas that I was in. And then Sister Talisha, you had asked a question about the moxibustion with mugwort.
Yes, the technique that you used, maybe even, you know, where you learned that from, because it was new to me. Even though I've used that herb before, I've never used it like that. And I was just amazed at, you know, what I could feel it doing to my body immediately. I could even feel the heat of it in my other extremities. And I think you even mentioned that that was my chi moving through my body. And that was just amazing to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Sister Fatima, I've also learned things about the placenta. Have you, do you educate your patients or your clients on how to deal with the placenta?
I've been studying.
I love it. We need all the brothers to be studying.
That's right. That is right.
Yes. Absolutely.
Is the placenta. Okay, that's what we doing.
Yes, he's gonna be catching his babies. He gonna talk to the brother and get some tips.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
What we doing?
Yes. So the placenta is amazing. It tells us so much information. It gives clues about the health of the baby and the pregnancy that we would never know from the outside. So a lot of families ask for placenta encapsulation, or they ask for a tincture to be able to support their health and wellness afterwards, depending on their, you know, belief systems. Some people, you know, have other traditional practices where they lay the placenta to rest on their land to settle the spirit of the baby. But once we review the placenta with the family, we show them the maternal side, the side where the baby implanted on the uterine wall, and we look at that. We look for calcifications, we look for fatty deposits, we check to make sure all the tissue is intact. We check to see if there's any additional like accessory lobes that can let us know if there was a potential twin pregnancy and maybe they were absorbed. We look at the health of the cord to make sure that there's 3 vessels. If there's only 2, there can be some developmental challenges or genetic challenges. And so we look at the membranes, the health of the membranes. Are they strong? How intact were they? The location of the rupture on the membranes, the smell, the color. We look at the health of the umbilical cord. Is there a lot of Wharton's jelly? How thick is it? was the baby allowed to receive all of their cord blood. So the placenta tells us a lot of information. We look at the inside, which when you flip the placenta inside out, they call it shiny Schultz, the Schultz side. It looks like a tree, and they call that the tree of life. And so taking a walk of the placenta is really important. And it's also amazing. That's the house that the baby lived in, inside of the womb, inside of the mother. And so I was recently taught with the perinatal somatics that the baby designs, puts out those, the baby puts out when the hormone is released and the baby goes to find where it's going to implant in the uterine wall. It helps to design its placenta. It's identifying where it wants to be implanted. And so there's this beautiful journey that happens in the body, and the placenta is that doorway between the receiving oxygen and nutrients and blood from the mother and being able to grow, and then taking those waste products and the mother receiving those back and filtering those out through her body. So it's our only temporary organ. It's an amazing organ that gives us benefits during pregnancy and afterwards, depending on how we utilize it.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. We're reaching the end of our show, but I wanted you to just say very briefly and if both of you can speak on this, what do you tell young women today in preparing their bodies? There has to be something said to the young women so they can, when do they start preparing their bodies?
I'm going to let the sister speak first because she is a queen mother of delivery, and I always love to respect that.
I would say as early as possible. I have my daughters drinking red raspberry leaf tea already, even at 2 and 3 years old. It is just amazing for the reproductive organs, and it prepares the uterus to be ready to not only receive, but to, when you go into contractions, to move that baby down effectively with every contraction. So it tones the uterus, and it helps all the reproductive organs that a mother would use. So I would start as early as possible, even for someone having, painful menstrual cycles. It helps to tone that uterus, and it can actually help the hormones, help to balance the hormones, and help to have a less painful menstrual cycles, less heavy menstrual cycles. I mean, we deal with, because of, we're attacked with food all the time, we have serious hormone imbalances. So it can help to balance the hormones so that our reproductive organs are working the way that they need to be. And that process needs to be started as soon as possible.
Agreed. In addition to preconceptionally, so as we, move a little further down that, maturity window, really talking to our young ladies about their bodies before they start their cycles, how to take care of themselves, what does that mean? And then also celebrating that this is sacred. This is a sacred experience, and
Yes.
celebrating the opportunity to be able to bring forth new life. And then how do you care for yourself in that process, mentally, physically, spiritually, nutritionally, emotionally, to the people that you share space with, in addition to talking to our families who are preconceptionally preparing to bring babies into the world. What does that mean? Are you prepared in terms of your body? What is your body telling you before you're even preparing to conceive? What is your partner's body telling you and telling them before you're even preparing to conceive? Are there any conversations or miscommunications that you're having? So these are things that are layered, and each layer, you get a bit more information or you do a deeper dive depending on how close you are to planning or what types of behaviors you're engaged in.
Man, this is such proof that when you teach a man, you teach an individual. you teach a woman, you teach a nation, man. This is such proof, right here. Praise be to Allah. All right.
And one more
You're
thing
very perceptive, Jackie.
to the mothers and the fathers dealing with postpartum and depressions and psychosis. What do you have to say to that? What would you say to the fathers and the mothers?
Man, I may got the same question. You looked at my questions, brother.
No, you ain't got those questions, brother. I got
I swear you got them questions, brother.
You don't have them questions, brother.
I have them questions. I did
ahead.
my research too.
You did your research too.
Yeah, because fathers go through it too. Just
Respect, absolutely. Our fathers hold space for us, and not just space, they hold the family. And so sometimes our fathers are suffering because their voice isn't being heard, or they're not being acknowledged, or they need a bit more support to be able to support the family. And so postpartum depression can be a very serious thing. It is not anything to be taken lightly. It's a huge transition. The body is changing, hormones are changing. Even so, if a father is engaged, this is on the mother and the father side. So if a father is engaged in a monogamous relationship and cohabitates with the mother, there's research that shows that their testosterone levels decrease for that first 2 weeks, I believe it is, for them to have a better bonding period with their baby. So they may feel a little more weepy. They may feel a little more protective. But those aren't things that we talk about.
Man, we need to talk about it. That's a good point.
Absolutely. It's
That's
important. In addition to any type of postpartum depression, any type of postpartum psychosis, if a mother is a danger to herself or a danger to her baby, she needs that support. Or she may just need a bit more nurturing and care. There's something called baby blues that can happen right after you have your baby. And it can be within the realm of normal, weepy, tears. There's a big hormonal release that happens after you have a baby. There's loss of blood, there's hormone in the blood. And so that hormone has to be built back up. But when there are dangerous levels where moms don't feel safe, they don't feel safe with their babies, they may feel that, just walking, across the room may be a challenge. That's when we need to seek additional medical support, medical advice, call on our community, bring our community in closer, bring more support for the baby, and make sure that that mom is not carrying the load on her own, and also give that mom grace and give that father grace, because it is a transition period, and also we have a little one's life that also has to be nurtured and cared for. In some instances, medication may be necessary. In some instances, counseling may be needed. In some instances, we need to make sure that the parent is not alone, not alone, period, with themselves, or much less with their baby. And so we want to wrap around those families and do our best to provide the resources, the information, the support that is needed so that they can have the care to thrive in their postpartum period and beyond.
yes, man. Okay, we've reached the end of our show. Normally at this time, we go around and give everyone their last words, their final closing remarks. Excuse me. So, if
Yes, sir.
Sister Fatima, if you would like us to promote the school and as well as allow others to contact you, do you want to share your number? And do you want us to promote the school?
Absolutely. So we are at an integration phase right now. So we have two arms of Modabe. Like we said, Modabe stands for Moms, Dads, and Babies, and we've been around for a while. So we have the maternal, paternal, and child health side, where we're gearing up for our doulas, our doula support, getting more birth workers out here, and also the education side. Modabe Education, where we offer micro school education pre-K through 12th grade. You can find us on our website at momsdadsbabies.com, which I see you have listed here, and you can contact us. You can reach us at 602-505-1105. We have
Wait.
Instagram.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
Could you
sir.
say that a little slower? My engineer has my engineer has to type it in the just say repeat it a little slower.
Yes, sir. 602-505-1105. In addition to, we have 2 Instagrams. One is at Modabe EDU, that's for our micro school. And then our other Instagram is modabe.fatima, and you'll find some of our birth work and events there.
Yeah, we can. You doing that, Brother Jackie? You looking it up? That's the phone number to reach you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
505. Okay.
If you could put everything in a private chat, I can copy it and put it up here as well. For Instagram.
Is it modabe.edu or is that correct? Just like that.
That's correct. MODABA-EDU, and that's for the education center side, and for the birth side is at modabe.fatima. And the engineer is doing a great job.
We will fire him live. we will fire him live on the show right
now. Oh my God, she's just so inspiring. She is because this was his last day. If you didn't
That's right.
Yes, man. So, Sister Fatima, did you have anything else to say for your final remarks?
My final remarks, all praise due to Allah. I really appreciate you, brothers, and your time, the invitation, and I'm just sending lots of love to our community for optimal birth outcomes, and we're better together, we're stronger together. So if we can stand strong, support one another, we're better off for it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
And also special thanks to my dear Sister Talisha. And
absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Sister Talisha?
I just want to thank you all, first of all, for having me. Thank you, Sister Fatima, for even thinking about me and including me on here. It's been a pleasure. You know, education is what I love to do, but it's something that I want to dive deeper into because, you know, our community definitely needs it. And you know, we need to get out there that there is a different side of this that we, you know, don't always hear about. And it's so important to, you know, for our mothers and just our families to know that there are other alternatives and that you don't have to do, you know, this traditional Western medicine way of bringing lives into this world. It should be something intimate and, you know, cherished and protected more than anything. So education is so important.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Brother Jackie?
Yes, sir. I want to thank you both for coming on and educating us with this process. Man, we have all these children in the world and we don't even really understand the proper way to bring them in the world, you know. And when you gave the example of the pool birth, you know, I was thinking, I was like, man, I would like to design some type of like a sauna, and you know, while it's massaging you at the same time, that would be perfect. If pool birth is where it's at is more comfortable, that would be perfect. If we can design something that'll make it more comfortable, man, it was educating. So thank you all for coming on and sharing, because they have made the midwife and the doula seem as though it is a old African process or a slave process, but I understand now that it's a money grab and it's to keep us, you know, ignorant of proper way of bringing life into the world. So thank you
Yeah,
all for sharing. So hopefully
absolutely.
we can do a campaign and really get the awareness of our people up. You know what I think Brother Ahmed was alluding to when he said, "What we teach the young girls, what to do, and young men as well." And then and what you shared, the fathers that in the first 2 weeks, your testosterone go down. So now you're in the bonding stage. You really just you're not
Yes, sir.
you're down. So that's man, nature is beautiful,
Amazing.
understood. So thank you all for sharing.
It's a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Carly?
Yes. Well, as you was talking, Sister Fatima and Sister Talisha, I couldn't help but reflect on when, um, at the time, my son was, I was going through that whole childbirth process, and they tell you the things you need to prepare for, but even with that, then you miss something, especially like us men. We just go to work all the time, and we're just asked to be financial providers, and that emotional support sometimes can get lost in the shuffle. And man, I promise you, if I knew anything about like doulas or midwife, and I think I've heard it, but it was never really something that was really pushed. Man, that would have probably been the route I would have went, because I was a wreck, literally a wreck doing the whole she's going to the hospital. You got to get off work and rush to the hospital type stage. I was absolutely a wreck and have to be in there all night with her like that. So man, just like Brother Jackie said, I don't know why they're not using this service as much as like they want, but we really do need to promote, set up some type of system where people can just hear about these programs for them. And so I'm just glad that we decided to do shows on this. We're a men's show. Let us make men. But I mean, we have no problem uh, doing what's quote unquote a feminine show, because at the end of the day, we have to know as well. So how you thinking and how you moving, so we can be better at making decisions as men as to how to serve our women. So thank you for coming to the show with this type of information. I really appreciate it. The education, and I can tell, Sister Fatima, you got a real calming voice. You know, she's so.
You don't
I
know.
don't even know if you get excited. You know what I'm saying? So
You gotta catch her in counseling, bro.
So I mean, doing that practicing, I mean, you would have been great. It's that little,
I'm telling you.
like little, yeah. Look,
I'm telling you, it's everything. It's
everything.
everything.
Yeah.
We would have supported you, brother.
She sure would have, because I'm telling my husband he needed it every time.
Did you pass out, Kawi?
Almost. Look, man. Look, she had a cesarean, right? I'm behind the curtain. I'm talking to her, and I just peeped around the curtain. I saw all that blood, and man, I almost fell out. I almost fell out.
Need two doulas. Yes, sir. I see the same thing, brother.
Oh my goodness.
I'd like to thank you both for coming on and sharing all this knowledge and wisdom. We're going to repost the show and show it. If you want us to send you links, we'll do that
Absolutely.
if you need it. But we're so happy that you accepted our invitations, and normally we like to do this too. If you can thank your husbands for whatever support they give you and your family, and provide ease and comfort to you as well, please give them our thanks.
And the
And,
greetings.
Yes.
greetings.
And the greetings,
Absolutely.
brother. Yeah, definitely. We definitely want to hear from them as well. Definitely. But yeah. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But thank you, and maybe in the future we may have other shows pertaining to these topics. So we may be able to reach out to you again. That would be great.
I'd be happy to do
Yes,
it.
sir. Absolutely. And we would love to invite you all to come down. I don't know where everybody is located, but maybe we can do something special for the brothers and bring the brothers together, and you can host in real time, and we can bring people together in real time, and you can have these conversations with the brothers, and we can build wraparound supports for the family.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That'd be good.
Sounds great. Yes,
Yeah,
man.
we're in Atlanta, and Brother Ahmed is in Phoenix. So, but you
Yes,
know,
sir.
we move around.
I don't mind flying.
Mhm.
But 2
Okay.
hours.
Come on out.
Okay, Jock Nation, thank you for joining on. And we had a special show tonight. Thank you all. And like Brother Jackie said, well, he could say it.
Another one. This was another one.